What's up, y'all? I'm back with another one. This is six most disturbing internet trends. Let's just get into it. There has been a lot of retarded ass shit over the years, honestly.
Angel of Death Challenge.
Like, what the fuck is the Angel of Death challenge?
On June 3rd, 2022, an 18-year-old teen tragically passed away after falling in front of a truck in Tangerang, Indonesia. However, what
What?
made this particular incident stand out among the dozens of traffic-related deaths on Indonesian roads every day was that this was not an accident. Instead,
Hmm?
this was the result of one of the most disturbing internet trends that was sweeping the country during this time. It had actually started back in 2021, but exploded in popularity in mid-2022. The trend was called the Malaikat Maut Challenge, or the Angel of Death Challenge in English. It involved TikTokers, mainly teenagers, playing a game with oncoming traffic, particularly loaded trucks. Their goal was to run out onto a busy street and
That reminds me of Roadkill. I think that's what we called it, Roadkill. Basically, it was more of a swing game where you swing on the swings, and then the person would try to run and not get hit. And if you get hit, well, roadkill. Y'all trying to bring that and put that in real life. Dumb.
in front of a truck, hope it stops before hitting them without flinching, and post the video of the stunt online. But completing this dangerous challenge successfully was a lot harder than many of its unfortunate participants realized. Most of them jumped onto the road as the truck got extremely close, giving the driver virtually no time to notice them and apply the brakes. But
That's
even when drivers
terrible.
had enough time to see the kids performing these stunts, they still couldn't slow down in time to prevent tragedy. Trucks usually carry heavy cargo, and that weight doesn't stop on a dime. The heavier the load, the longer the braking distance, sometimes stretching dozens of meters even after the brakes are fully pressed. So by the time the drivers reacted, it was already too late. Not to mention the fact that this
Jeez.
trend was also putting the truck drivers
Man, this sucks. Like, imagine you being a parent and you getting the call that your freaking stupid ass kid jumped in front of a freaking truck and now is dead. It's like, can you be mad at the truck driver? I know parents gonna be like, fuck them and they need their job. I know parents be coping like a motherfucker for their kid. Be capping and delululing. Parents be very delusional about their children. Very delusional. But imagine getting that call like that. You really failed as a. It's so fun. RP to hit them and it's feel sad for the parents, but a part of that I feel like you would feel like, damn, I failed. This that was stupid as fuck. Unless you're trying to actually kill yourself, that's dumb as fuck.
at risk, both physically and psychologically. For one of these cases, involving a 14-year-old participating in this challenge, the driver fled the scene, likely out of fear of facing criminal charges.
Okay, let's back to the parents coping and shit. Valid, you left. If you truly didn't do anything wrong, stay. This is someone's life at the end of the day. And you're an operator of that vehicle. And I understand the law is wicked as fuck, the world is wicked as fuck, and your ass might go down forever. This is a 14-year-old fucking child. But to me and to the rest of the world, it just makes you look guilty. Granted, the child, there might have been evidence that he was trying to do that shit, but still, leaving like that makes you feel guilty as fuck.
If he had instead stopped and cooperated, the footage the teenager's friends captured for TikTok would have proven his innocence. But by running away, he turned himself into a hit-and-run suspect,
Yeah,
potentially
see?
jeopardizing his job and even his freedom depending on the charges he received. Following the
See?
incident in Tangerang, Indonesian police acted quickly to prevent further tragedies. They managed to stop 14 more kids from attempting the same dangerous stunt that very day and continued to monitor the city over the upcoming months. However,
Good.
the
That's
attempts in
so.
Tangerang, Indonesia were only a small part of the global trend that cost several lives and left many others with life-altering injuries over the next year. Thankfully, TikTok eventually stepped in and removed all content related to the Angel of Death challenge. And since social media validation was the main reason participants took part in this dangerous trend, the platform's ban caused it to gradually fade into obscurity.
Good. That's terrible.
Happy slapping.
Hmm?
On the 21st of January 2005, the Tez magazine in the UK reported on a new trend spreading rapidly across the country, something they referred to as happy slapping. Contrary to its name, however, the trend was anything but happy. In essence, it involved people, often young adults or teenagers, going up to a random person, slapping them, recording their shocked reaction, and then sharing.
I feel like I've heard something similar, but it wasn't slapping. They was punching people. It was random people, random men specifically, I have to be honest, punching women in the street. This was the this was America, not the UK though.
That video with others. Personal camcorders and phones with cameras were becoming a lot more accessible during this time, allowing the attackers to record their crime and share it as something funny. These happy slapping videos were shared all over the internet for the whole world to see. As for how this trend initially started, some reports from the time linked them to violent TV shows like Jackass and Dirty Sanchez. A big difference between these shows and the happy slapping videos, however, was that everyone on TV consented to enduring the pain on camera. The people filming happy slapping videos, on the other hand, usually targeted complete strangers and bystanders for what they perceived as social clout. As a media expert from that time explained it, what we see the kids watching these shows doing is thinking, well, maybe I could stage my own scenes of pain and humiliation along these lines. Then with happy slapping, people are drawn in as random victims rather than the kind of voluntary performances we get in the shows that are being copied. I think happy slapping has become a shortcut in the eyes of the slappers to fame and notoriety among the people who see the images circulated on the web or sent to them via their mobile phones. And while that was already bad enough on its own, things quickly took an even darker turn. As time went on, the recordings became increasingly violent, likely in an effort to outdo one another and stand out in the sea of dozens, if not hundreds of similar videos. Things went from humiliating but physically harmless slaps to coordinated attacks resulting in permanent injuries. One of the worst cases of this happened on August 31st, 2009 in South London. A 67-year-old retired care worker named Ekram Haq left the mosque on Church Lane in Tooting, England after the evening prayer, where he was then approached by two boys, 15-year-old Hamza Lazai and 16-year-old Leon Elcock, wanting to make a happy slapping video. Things quickly spiraled out of control as neither of them held back, resulting in Ekram passing away a week later from a severe head injury he received during the incident. The two were eventually identified and arrested after police reviewed CCTV footage from a nearby camera. Both pled guilty to manslaughter, with Leon receiving a 4.5-year sentence and Hamza sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. The happy slapping trend as a whole eventually faded away after the UK and the surrounding countries started treating it as a significant threat to public safety, with France even criminalizing it and giving it a punishment of up to 5 years in prison.
That's so fucked up.
Skullbreaker Challenge. On February 14, 2020, 12-year-old Parker Smith was invited by his friends to film what seemed like a harmless jumping contest with them. He agreed, and on camera jumped the highest he could, but instead of landing safely on his feet, he fell backward and fractured his right arm. He was rushed to the hospital immediately, and fortunately made a full recovery over the following weeks. However, what seemed like a simple accident turned out to be part of a disturbing internet trend his two friends were attempting to recreate. The so-called Skullbreaker Challenge required 3 people to stand in a line and somehow convince the person in the middle to jump. As soon as they did, the 2 on the outside swept the legs of the one in the middle who was usually unaware of what was about to happen. This caused them to fall backward, usually on their head, which is where the trend got its name from. It started earlier that year after a video of 2 students from Spain doing it on their friend went viral on social media platforms like TikTok, prompting countless imitators to try and recreate its success. And, as you might imagine, the results were disastrous, with Parker being one of the lucky ones for walking away with just a fractured arm. Many others were knocked unconscious by the impact, suffered from severe concussions, and some even needed multiple stitches across their skull and face. The most devastating of these incidents happened on January 24, 2020 in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, when a group of 7th graders attempted the challenge in school. Unfortunately, the victim fell way too hard on their head, causing them to lose consciousness and have a seizure. He luckily survived the incident and eventually recovered without any permanent head trauma. However, his initial condition was bad enough that authorities arrested the other 2 13-year-old boys. They were charged with 3rd-degree aggravated assault and 3rd-degree endangering an injured victim since the harm they caused was mostly intentional. Now, I wasn't able to find any reports on whether the
Well,
charges were
how long
dropped or
did
not,
yeah, I'm about to
but
say how
even
long
if
did
they
they
were,
get?
being arrested for attempting a dangerous internet challenge goes to show just how dangerous it can be. TikTok also stepped in and banned all
You can't
videos of
just
this
do anything
challenge on
for
their
fame.
platform. Unfortunately, once something is on the internet, it never truly goes away. As evident from two girls finding videos of the Skullbreaker challenge, attempting it on one of their classmates, injuring them, and
Okay, they
getting
fucked
charged for
up.
it in November 2022, more than 2.5 years after the
Special
original fad
needs.
ended. Fortunately, there haven't been many reports of kids getting injured because of this challenge ever since.
Good. That's fucked up.
Find a Planet Fitness near you for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 30th.
At Burger King, you inspire the menu. Try the Ultimate Steakhouse Whopper today.
Kia Challenge. Near the end of 2020 and throughout 2021, authorities in Milwaukee, Wisconsin noticed a significant increase in car theft. What made this even stranger was the fact that the majority of these stolen vehicles were either
I know
from
about
Kia
this
or
too.
Hyundai, with theft
Kia
of these
boys.
particular cars doubling or even tripling in some areas.
Kia boys is the niggas that would steal a bunch of cars and shit. It was in another video that I've seen. It's when a bunch of teenagers, really teenagers, they steal a bunch of cars, whoop-de whoop around the neighborhood, shit like
Compared to
that.
previous years. However, before investigators could determine
And
the
then
cause
mostly
of this
stole Kia
surge,
cars
the
and
situation
shit.
spiraled beyond their control in ways they could have never expected. Put simply, stealing Kia and Hyundai cars became an internet trend called the Kia Challenge. It began on July 12, 2022, when a video captioned "Kia Boys" went viral for demonstrating just how easy it was to steal Kia and Hyundai cars manufactured between 2011 and 2021. All a thief needed
That
was
make
a
people not want to
screwdriver
buy that
and
shit no
any
more. That
regular
can make
USB
that get bad
cable,
sales.
since the connector just so happened to be the perfect size and shape to jumpstart the vehicle. This was a major hardware-level security flaw in dozens of car
I ain't
models,
buying no
and there was
Kia.
no permanent way to fix the problem either. Now, the original Kia Boys video was eventually taken down by TikTok, but the information was already out there and it already sparked the Kia Challenge. Teenagers across the US started breaking into Kias and Hyundais and posting their stunts on social media to
Yeah,
participate in the
monkey
challenge.
see, monkey
While the
do.
stolen cars caused a massive financial
Oh my God, this reminds me of a video. See, I don't know if it was a Kia, but it was these teenagers stealing a car and they were driving super fast. The car got out of control and it killed somebody. It killed one of them because one of it was at a school. Like it was okay. It was a car like that, and it was driving very fast in a schoolway, very fast. I don't believe it was a Kia. I don't believe it was a Kia, but I think they were very young, speeding very fast, and they lost control and the car flipped over. But the dude who was outside the car, obviously, it landed on the RP. He died. I see. Yeah, that was a video I seen a long
burden
time
for
ago.
hundreds of innocent residents. The real danger of the Kia Challenge came from what many of the thieves did once they had taken control of the vehicles. Since many of them had no intention of actually profiting off the stolen cars and were only doing it for the internet, they began taking the cars for reckless joyrides around town, putting their lives and the lives of everyone else on the road in extreme danger. One of these joyrides led to a police chase, which eventually ended with the out-of-control car slamming into the concrete barrier and the teenagers who stole the car
See,
trying to
that's-
flee on foot. The most disturbing of these incidents occurred in Buffalo, New York in October 2022, where a stolen Kia ride ended in a fatal crash, taking the lives of 4 teenagers. In total, the Kia Challenge resulted in the loss of 8 lives before the disturbing trend was shut down by TikTok and other social platforms. Kia and Hyundai also had to settle a class action lawsuit for $200 million over the dangerously lax security in their cars.
Damn. Valid though. Cause it seemed easy to do it.
Car
Everyone just
surfing.
stealing them
Car surfing, or riding on the outside of a car as if it were a surfboard, has existed
Oh
as a
my
trend
God.
long before modern social media was even a
That
thing.
is true.
It started gaining popularity
Okay, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't never fucking did the shit because that's not how I rock. I'm a big bitch. I don't do shit like this or any of so I don't sit. Ask my homies. I don't sit on car hoods. I'm a big bitch. I ain't breaking your fucking car. Ain't got time for that shit. And I'm broke. I ain't replacing that shit. But my homeboy, he was driving and we was smoking this. Don't do drugs. We was smoking weed, but she was on the car on the hood, like how he not on the highway. I have to clarify, not on a highway and not on a busy road. This is like, we was like, where the fuck were we? In the middle of just some fucking field. It wasn't a busy, like back roads. You know when you go in back roads and shit, like areas like that. I don't know. But she was on there. She wasn't on the hood. How that nigga was, she wasn't doing all of that, and she was laying down on it as he was going a little bit fast. He wasn't. This wasn't all that. It was kind of stunt double ish, but yeah, this surfing shit is
30 in the
stupid as
early
fuck though.
1990s, compelling
Like she was
teenagers and
laying
young
down like
adults to
that.
speed down the highway while
She was
precariously
laying.
balancing
She
themselves on
wasn't doing
top.
all of that.
Today, most
Bitch.
modern cars don't have much to hang on to on the outside to improve aerodynamics.
Okay, she was on the hood of the car. She wasn't on the top, and she was not standing. And it was not a road like this.
Which
And
makes
he
this
was not
already
going that
high-risk
fast.
activity even more deadly. It only takes one small slip for even the most daring car surfer to fall into the road. Something that's evident from a 2008 CDC report, which revealed that 58 people lost their lives while engaging in car surfing, and 41
Damn.
others were severely injured since 1990. Unfortunately, the rise of social media and the desire to go viral with outrageous stunts have only driven that number higher ever
And we did not
since.
film this
Most
shit, so it
recently,
wasn't
in
for
May
social media.
2023,
It
a
was because we
16-year-old
were
boy
high and we were
tragically
young.
lost his life while
Like this was the year I graduated high school. This was 2021. Literally fresh out of high school.
car surfing out the back window of a car when the vehicle lost control
This is when
and
I was
rolled
heavy
over.
on
He would have almost certainly
carts,
kept his
weed
life if he were
carts.
in his seat with a seatbelt.
Weed.
Sadly, the car surfing trend
Smoking
is
head
just
weed.
as alive today as it was 3 decades ago, and shows no signs of fading away anytime soon.
Yeah, that's dangerous. Look. So I think that's it for this video, man. I'm finna get up out of here. Peace.